Hey guys, it's Mario from WATL. Today we're going to talk to Ian Malpass, 2021's hottest thrower. If you watched the 2021 US Open, Ian Malpass not only made it to the Big Axe Championships, but also the Hatchet Championships. Today, we're going to get some tips from Ian.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like I'm like most of the other throwers. I'm right foot forward. I know some people go left foot forward, but it just doesn't work for me at all. I throw a shorter handle and I'm right foot forward. I can't do it left foot forward for whatever reason. But I'll try to find like a mark on the floor if I can. I'll put pretty much, I'd say maybe like 80 to 90% of my weight then forward on my right leg. And it kind of sets me up just over the bullseye. So I'm not throwing like directly straight on. It's more of a very slight angle. I feel like that just helps me, when I miss left or right, then I kind of know what I'm doing wrong. If I line up dead on and missing, then it's a little more difficult for me to decide, now based on doing that throw for a while, what changes I have to make. So honestly, my uncle, AJ Mitchell, who owns Angry Jacks, is the reason I even throw. He throws left foot forward and I tried it and it just felt awkward, I guess.
Let's take a quick peek at how Ian holds the axe. He's going to walk us through his pinch grip, what he does with his pinky, and how he's properly holding his axe in order to get that perfect throw.
I have the Philly Axe Co handle here with the little curve at the end. Yep. So for me, I kind of just slide my hand down until I feel that groove where it's familiar. Yeah. And then it's just more of like a...
Interesting.
So pinky's always like kind of right here.
On the side?
Yeah. And then the thumb, these are the two things I play with the most. So the pinky and where that is.
Interesting, I like that.
Thumb. Yeah. I don't want it too far back or it kind of slows down the rotation, makes it a little weird.
Yes.
But I also don't want it kind of wrapped around the side because I do use that as like a base point.
Right.
And I kind of just let it kind of fall back. It's resting, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's kind of like resting on like, I guess you call it like the palm right there.
Yeah. The knuckle area.
But yeah, that finger doesn't really do much. It just kind of sits there.
Ian has a very unique throw. While it may be unique, I like it myself. Why? Because he likes to under-rotate his throw. If you look at his axe handle, it actually has a lot of material missing. That shows that he's slightly under-rotating, and it's not a bad thing in my opinion, because what that means is if you over-rotate and you land this way, the coverage that you have is less than an inch, maybe an inch and a half or 2 inches tops. But for Ian, when you under-rotate, that typically means that you're landing flat, so you're getting that full flat coverage. In this case, with the corporal, you're essentially landing flat-bladed in the target first, which means more points, more chances for points, and more forgiveness in case you go high or low.
So for me, I under-rotate pretty consistently. I don't know if you can see. I want to say it's like just over 15 or it's like right around 15. That's kind of like a unicorn throw, I guess, because I don't throw hard. Which used to be a problem for me when I switched to the plum from the ace originally. Right. So I really had to have my uncle like work this, profile it down, because I would have drops pretty consistently just from throwing so light. It's the same with my big axe throw. I just feel like I'm way more accurate. Yeah. So I'd rather just keep the accuracy and deal with the drop, if it happens, which luckily I'm gonna do this. Hasn't happened in Hatchet for a while. My biggest thing I find with the variance in my throw is usually my elbow. When I'm setting up, after I'm set up, I bring it in, I'm aiming it basically with the head of the axe, just right at the bullseye. But I want to make sure my elbow is not doing this. Like if I'm missing right, it's almost 1,000% sure that my elbow was just out slightly. And that little bit could make you miss by 1/4 of an inch. And then I just try to keep everything in a straight line. So for me, I put the axe up right next to my head. I do a little bit of shoulder movement to get the little back rotation. And then as I'm doing that, I'll tilt kind of like with my wrist back a little bit more. And then just to release. Follow through is a big thing I noticed too. If I'm missing left, chances are I didn't follow through straight. I probably, went just a little bit to trying to keep everything in a straight line.
Now you're probably wondering how Ian calms himself down. He says that his first match of that game day is always the worst. The nerves are at its highest point. He prefers to joke around. He prefers to just make jokes with his friends, be happy, smiling. That helps them get into a much more comfortable zone where you're not experiencing nerves or the shakes.
Like the first match of a tournament like Worlds, US Open, if you look at my scores, they're always probably my worst for the entire day. Hopefully have seated high and get a somewhat easier match where that like won't affect me too bad. Just getting those nerves out. So I don't think I do a fantastic job, if I'm being honest, at getting rid of them. But one thing I will do is I try to make friends throughout the community when I'm playing people. If I'm playing a friend, it's much easier to just have fun, kind of let loose and just let the throwing take over. So that's a big thing. And then two, honestly, I'll sing in my head. Like if there's music playing, I'm probably singing, and you might see it now that masks aren't required anymore. So that's a big one. And then honestly, just coming from like the Philly area and throwing with the Philly guys is, we talk crap just as fun to each other. So just trying to keep it light and have fun. I notice when I'm having fun, it's definitely just easier. Your hand's not shaking as much. You're just kind of in the groove and having fun.
Unlike some of the other throwers that we've spoken to, Ian actually keeps track of his opponent's scores, so he knows before every single throw whether he's up, he's down, or what his next throw is going to be.
Most of the time, I'm just going over the match in my head. If I hit a 6, okay, everything was perfect, we'll say. Keep doing that. But then I'm also thinking, am I up 1? Am I down 1? For me, it's like, especially with the 9 and 10 kill shots now, you're never really out of it or in it. Like you're trying to just set up in my mind, like if I'm up 1, knowing what I'm going to do. If I'm up 2, knowing what I'm going to do. If I'm down 1, 2. Like I've just predetermined all these things in my mind so that when that time comes, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do. I already know what I'm going to do. So mentally going into throw 8, if we're tied, I know what I'm going to do if I throw a 5 and they throw a 6, or I throw a 6, they throw a 5. Like it's just predetermined. I've done it a million times, so don't think about it, just execute it.
Ian actually only practices kill shots. That's his thing.
So I usually use league as my practice. I was doing 2 Waddle leagues, Wednesday and Sunday. So I would get there a little bit early. Like if practice starts at 6, league starts at 7, probably there at 5:30, just tweaking things, making sure it feels good. And then I don't have a specific practice method, we'll call it. For me personally, I think kill shots matter 1,000 times more than bullseyes. So you'll definitely see me practicing kill shots a lot more than you'll see me practicing bullseyes, which it has been to a detriment at times with my bullseyes being, hit or miss sometimes. But, even if I throw a 4 or a couple of 5s, I know I'm pretty confident I'm going to hit 9 and 10 kill shots if I need them. Even if I'm down, I'm not too stressed about it. And then the other thing I'll try to do is when I do practice, I'll throw a couple bullseyes in a row. And then for me, I always go right kill shot, left kill shot. So I'll always practice in that order, bull, 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 right, left, and then back to bull. So just to keep that flow.
He brings up an interesting point, and he might not be wrong. If you're consistently winning your league, you might want to switch leagues, or you might actually want to help someone elevate their game, get into the sport, so then you constantly have a challenge at your home turf.
Honestly, if I had to attribute my success to anything, I would have to say it's a product of my environment, honestly. Like Angry Jackson bringing the Philly guys over, that for me was like my introduction to all those Philly guys. And, at the time, they were all way better than me. Most of them were legends in the sport. So it was like nice to be able to chat with them, and just being around that better competition definitely helps. So if I could say anything to people, if you're winning your league, you probably want to join a different league. For me, it was like, I'd much rather lose and play in a really good league than win in a league with lesser competition.
It helped him a lot to be in the proximity of excellent axe throwers. So he's constantly going against some of the top competition in the country. One of the keys to his success is a conversation that he actually had with Mike Kump. Mike Kump told him in a tournament, what's the worst possible thing that could happen if you lose?
And then honestly, last year, I do have to give a shout out to Mike Kump. He probably doesn't even know I'm going to say this, but during one of the tournaments that we ran at Angry Jacks, he wasn't supposed to be in the tournament. He got added last second. So when we were playing, he was just kind of messing around because he didn't really want to, throw. And, I was nervous. I hadn't played Mike before. And, he's like, if I throw a 4, he's matching me with a 4, just joking around. And then after the match, he just pretty much says to me, like, what do you, like, you're way better than this. Stop throwing. Like, you're scared. He's like, we've all lost before. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to lose again. Like, only one person in the tournament's, potentially not going to lose. So, and it just kind of stuck with me. I'm like, he's not wrong. Like, it's so simple and so basic, but like, what am I worried about? We've all lost. So like the worst case scenario isn't really that bad. So
he feels as confident hitting those kill shots as he does with the hatchet. And the kill shot has actually helped him win a lot of the key matches he plays, which is very interesting because not enough throwers practice kill shot on Big Axe, where that's Ian's core focus, and which is why he was one of the finalists in the 2021 US Open.
Man, this is going to be funny because if we go back to Worlds last year, I didn't compete in Big Axe. I didn't even attempt to qualify in Big Axe because I thought I was terrible at it. During like that last what is it, fall season, I guess, leads up to Worlds.
Yep.
I didn't even have my own big axe. I was just using a house axe that AJ had. Dropping like every 2 or 3 throws because it's, the edge on it's like that thick. Cody Park actually hooked me up with an ag door, started throwing it, found pretty consistent with it. I'm like, okay. And then I think it was Mid-Atlantic Open. I guess Angry Wood would have been the first one I really competed in, but it was outside and I was still like brand new throwing big axe then. So, it did not end well. But then Mid-Atlantic, I had a little bit more time to practice. And I came in 4th and I was just like, wow, like, what, like, how did this happen? To be honest with you, with big axe, I kind of found my throw and I really don't practice it that often. With big axe, I feel like I've just been lucky enough to be pretty good at kills with it. If you look at the scores for the US Open, let's say, there's probably plenty of people that outbowled me, but I think I went like 7 for 10 on kills, like during the actual tournament. I mean, call it luck, call it whatever you want, but I just seem to, hit the kills when it matters. And I've been lucky, I guess. I mean, honestly, like the biggest things I would go back to are, you just kind of mentioned, I do play to my competition, I feel like. So for me, surrounding and playing, like wanting to play the best brings out the best in me. So I definitely, again, if you're in a league and you're the best person by far, try to find a different league if possible. Even if it's just that tournament during warm up, try to throw against the better throwers. And one thing I've been trying to do recently is, if you see like a new throw or something like that, just chat with them, give them some, just even if it's a quick, 1 or 2 tips, something about it, maybe just the way they're lining up, anything. I don't think there's anybody in the community that's gonna bark at someone for asking them for a little advice. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to someone that you think is better than you for some advice. That would be my biggest takeaway.
Again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you guys listening and learning from one of the best axe throwers in the world, Ian Malpass. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, make sure you hit the like button and follow us on Instagram. We're going to be dropping a lot of cool new products, news, new tournaments, and events that are coming up in 2021 and 2022. We look forward to hearing from you guys. If you have any questions, hit us below in the comments, and either Waddle, myself, or maybe even me and Malpass will get back to you and respond to you with some of your questions. Thanks very much for watching, everyone.